Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Nightreign. Today we're talking about more things you might not know, tips, tricks, and just interesting details. Let's just get straight into it. First things first, you might be doing a lot of Noclatio as you're shifting Earth. The reason for that is because, yeah, great legendaries, tons of targets, great runes, a lot of rewards. And in this video, I do want to talk about like one of the best routes that I've seen to get ridiculous value out of it. But the downside of running that shifting Earth is of course the fact that there's no castle in the middle. It'd probably be a little bit strong to just sort of go to the castle on day one, farm the whole thing out, then go to Noclatio on the second day and farm that for the whole day, and then the rest of the map means nothing. So I guess they removed it for that reason. But something you might not realized is in the center where the castle would be, now is just that long river. And there is a new weak boss that you can do on day one very easy. It's a guaranteed spawn for the hippo boss. So easy dormant powers runes in a fight. And down there is those like golden trees that increase your runes. So if you pop that when it's getting low or before you fight it, you can even further increase your reward for that hippo. So good to know. Here's one for I. Obviously this works with basically everyone, but I want to highlight it for I in particular because people are using the bows and not making the most out of this character. Even now, after many discussions about relics and hey, you know, you can use melee weapons and deck setups and it's really strong with the mark system, there are ways to increase the potency of the bow, like aiming and shooting targets in their critical locations, often the head, which also triggers the slow walk and, you know, slow walking passives. But the main thing here that it's just easy way to increase your damage is by buffing your armament. And you can do that in a reliable way for the entire run through seals, which are really undervalued. In this example, I found a seal just very early that gives me poison armament. And so that puts poison in my weapon, my arrows are dealing poison damage, and I get that status build up for basically free. I don't even have to commit anything of poison related nature onto my weapon. It just comes from the seal. The seal itself can be great for an in-hand passive like what I've got here, which is heal on damage. But of course there's loads like, you know, triggering a sprint benefit or the glint blade, magic swords above you while it's in your hand. In this case, the seal also has that rejection, which knocks enemies away from you, good for I for being ranged. But you got to be checking these seals as an I, because while poison armament and other armament buffs are going to be good, you might find blood flame blade or black flame blade, which will work on the bows, giving you a way to deal bleed build up reliably for the entire run from range, which is absolutely busted, let alone the black flame dot or the fire damage of blood flame. So yeah, these armament buffs are insane and they work for the I bow firing off special infused arrows. Make sure you check in those seals if you're playing I. Right, next up, are you aware that there are hidden rooms and locations in the ruins? A lot of the first weeks of this game talked about how the ruins were one of the lowest, least prioritized locations because often the enemies there are awkward, they're spaced out. Even when you're dealing with like the easiest one, Albinauric, it's 3 in different locations you're going to run around. Well, the value here is actually a lot higher than you might realize due to the hidden rooms. Just like a ruin in Elden Ring, there are hidden stairwells that you can reveal by dealing any instance of damage, or just by rolling on them. There's 2 main layouts for you to check for this hidden stairwell. So you either check the lower section that's out on the west side, just kind of exposed. If it's a ruin that sort of spirals up into itself, this is where that would usually be, say a poison ruin as an example. But there's a different kind too, which is up top. This will show up where there's no affinity for that ruin, or if it's a blood ruin or holy ruin. So it's very easy. You just go into the ruin, go to the top, see if it's got the secret area there. If not, go to the lower one. It's very easy to see the staircase and its hidden location because it's actually outlined and engraved in the ground. You just have to roll on it. Down there is always going to be 2 big chests. So you might get stone sword keys, weapon drops for passives, or potent consumables. Easy to check, takes 2 seconds. Plus there's this third layout where I don't seem to find these hidden staircases, but there are obvious pathways between the locations. These have normal chests in them, but there's like 2 or 3 in them, and there's usually 2 of these in those ruins. So like up to 6 chests for a load of consumables and more passives. It's an easy way to get way more value out of a ruin. And if you've got a silver foot to pop before you open any of these chests, you'll get even more drops. More good tips that I've realized recently. Here's one I'm embarrassed to talk about, but I figure I should tell you. You know how there's a couple different types of fort heights, and one of them has the giant golem with the bow up top, or if it's not that, it's the magic casters and the Crystallian? Well, when you're defeating, say, the Crystallian and the caster up top, right here as you're looking at the top, there's a broken kind of pillar, and if you climb up into that, it turns out there's a large chest there, which is going to be stone sword keys and important drops. which I have simply not realized existed this entire time I've been playing Nightreign. So if you also were like me and didn't realize that was there, congrats on the extra loot on every run. Right, here's a fun detail that comes from Reddit by the user LJ Collective that posted this very popular image. Basically, these players were having a bit of a rough run, ended up wiping, and then they went into the next run. In the next run, they ended up in the same location, where they found their own body. So this meant that they instantly got, on the day one, all of the gear from their first run back, including consumables and all of the good casting tools for the Recluse. Remember, with the passives and the way this works for dead players, this will add, say, the grief passive to all of these. So in the case of Recluse, this means each item they pick up and use that came from this body gives them 1 intelligence and 1 faith, scaling their incants and spells. So if you wipe on a run and then instantly go into the next one, go to where you died, you might just find your own body with all the loot you collected, and now with these added passives that give you increased power for that same Nightfarer. Kind of cool potential. Right, another quick one that I think is really important. There's this one spot that I always have a nightmare with, and it turns out I'm not the only one. I don't know what the original source for this is. Funnily enough, the TikTok that I saw of this was by someone called Hollow Bro. It wasn't me, I swear. But anyway, they show this pathing up the side of a cliff. And this is in that one spot on the northeastern side of the map where there's just no springs, and you've got to climb up this awkward big stone slab and climb up the side of a cliff. It takes ages. And it's just such a bad spot. There should really be a spring here. Well, it's good to know that you can climb walls like this. Basically, if there's any weird ledges and shapes inside of a wall, you can just sort of jump spam up them, and this is a prime spot. It's always like this. I did about 3 different runs to check, and I could always do it. So instead of climbing up the ruins to the right and up the sort of gravestones, I'm able to just go left, climb up this sort of stone ladder, as it were, and then make it to a spring to get up further way, way faster. So the next time you find yourself over in this area or in this kind of situation, see if you can't Skyrim up the wall. Could save you some serious time. Speaking of saving time, here's the big Noclateo path that I want to talk about. I've seen a bunch of variations of this, but this is by far my favorite one, where you do the whole damn thing for unbelievable potential. So here's the path. You enter like normal, and on the right side you've got the merchant. So we're going to progress on the north side, the top city side. By heading around this way, you'll soon be attacked by a hanging Estelle. So all you need to do is progress by here and shoot it with any ranged attack. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do much damage. Once you deal a bit of damage, it just leaves and gives you 20k runes, which is awesome. Also, there's mini bosses around here, the knights, which can give you drops, like a legendary in my case, so they're worth killing. Now, this footage, unfortunately, I got screwed because I got invaded by Augur, who took me out of the city. Thanks. Wasted my time, but I'll still show you the whole route here. Just come here at the start of day 2 so that you're able to do the whole thing. Anyway, we continue on to the north side spring, and of course you can jump up here to the roof where there's often a scarab talisman to grab, though not always. We're going to turn around and climb the main stairs, turning right to go through to go to the edge of the city on the north side. Here you'll encounter a Black Knife Assassin ambush, so kill that. Then we'll head to that ledge on the north side, turning left and climbing these ledge stairs. Here we have to make a couple jumps over some drops, and there's this little guy with a torch looking down. At that location you can drop down and find yourself surrounded by basilisks and a bunch of items. And a Royal Revenant spawns here too, which is really weak in this context. So kill all of that really quick, open up all the items, maybe get a legendary from the drops, and more dormant powers. Then we climb back up, but this time go west again to the edge of the city looking north. There's actually a secret spring down here which you drop down to and then use it to jump back into the city, facing the north rooftops. Up here is a little stairway that leads down with another mini boss knight and a special secret Noclateo chest. I've got legendaries from this chest, but always good drops. Once you've done that, head to the center area and go to the Astel fight, kill the knight mini bosses, take down Astel, get the power of course. And then when you're done, exit the Estelle room and turn right. Here we're going to climb up onto the wall, which is actually an aqueduct that goes over the suicide. Make sure you go to the most southern western aqueduct, because there's 2, and run down the length of this. Here you might find a scarab like I do here. There's also a body with an item which might have a legendary, so always check it. And jump onto the roof facing south. Dropping on the southern side of this roof brings you exactly to the item dupe room where there's 2 knights you'll have to defeat. Once you're done in the item dupe room, you head northeast, killing the headless troll here. Then we go back towards Estelle on the north side, bumping into another Black Knife Assassin. Obviously I've run out of time here, so I'm just running and showing you. Go back to the main grace before Estelle, then we turn right to exit the city. On the way, we've got the Dragonkin soldier boss fight for another kill, and by the exit, you'll find the Scarab where we first came in. So, absolutely insane. You want to spend the entire day here. Now, since we're talking about the topic of the map and all that stuff, there's been a lot of popular discussion about how there's space for more shifting earths. 2 or maybe 4 more. If you look at the map where it shows all of the shifting earths at once, on the top side you've got the volcanic one, you've got the mountaintops at the top left, at the bottom left you've got Noclatio, and at the bottom right we've got the Rotten Woods. So there's nothing in the top right, there's nothing in the bottom middle, or in fact the middle left or middle right. So there could be more shifting earths in the future. Maybe in the DLC they will slam some in these locations, but I don't think it really matters and I don't think it represents that. You could literally just put a new shifting earth in the same location that another one was in. It wouldn't matter. You're only ever going to have one shifting earth on the map at a time, at least by these rules, so it doesn't matter where they place it. Like, they could put it in the middle where the castle was. I don't think it means there's going to be 4 more in the DLC, but at the same time, I do think that's a reasonable bit of speculation. At very least, we're definitely going to get more, aren't we? With more awesome Elden Ring inspired areas to slot into Limveld. Okay, last one I want to highlight is the insane potential of jump attacks. This comes from the Reddit user NoShape7864, who found the ultimate jump attack. As they show, they're fighting the gaping dragon, and what they do is they just do a jumping attack and accidentally wedge themselves into the monster. This causes a kind of continual ticking damage of plunge attack, dealing unbelievable DPS and nearly killing the gaping dragon. I'm not saying this is going to be the easiest thing to recreate, but well worth trying, at least on the gaping jaw. But I like the idea of trying this with bigger enemies and maybe lodging yourself in for a ridiculous burst like this. If it's something you can replicate, the potential is massive. So I will be trying this from now on, and let me know if you manage it. But there you have it, that's our newest list of Nightreign tips and things you might not have known. As always guys, if there's anything you'd like to add to the topics today, or maybe make a suggestion for the series, you can let us know in the comments. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.